What drives them to date someone so much younger or older? Older narcissists will date younger people because they're more easily impressed by their stuff and accomplishment. Often, a narcissist thinks that if they're dating someone younger than themselves, that's a big status bump for them, right? A shallow narcissist might also date a younger person because they perceive them as more attractive than an older person, and also the added benefit of hurting their former spouse if there is one. Younger people might be better at conforming and being controlled. They definitely use the age gap for power either way. If they're older, then they're going to sort of control the person and run the show more. And if they're younger, they're going to try to use their attractiveness and everything in order to manipulate that person sexually.
Why do some aging narcissists always seem to date people who are much younger than they are?
So the question is, both of the narcissists I dealt with are older people. One of them I know for sure consistently pursues people 20 years younger than them. Do they like age gaps? Is it a way to feel power and control by dealing with younger people?
The first thing you have to know about a narcissist who chooses to date people who are much younger than them is that they are not necessarily the standard. The fact is that everyone's unique regardless of personality disorders, and as a result of that, we all deal with different concerns in different ways. This is also true for people with narcissistic personality disorder. Some of them might be looking for younger people, others for older people. But one thing you can say about every narcissist is they're looking for someone who is willing to give them good, strong narcissistic supply. Age is not usually an issue. Most often, it's about the fact that someone gives them solid, unending adoration or fuel for their ego in some way. This will cause them to glow and shine and flirt back with nearly anyone. So as we continue this video, I want you to keep in mind that this does depend on the type of narcissist and their own personal preferences and behavior. We are going to discuss the psychology of a narcissist who chooses to date younger people exclusively.
And we're going to touch on the psychology of younger narcissists dating older.
Today we're talking about narcissists who are involved with people who are at least 10 years older or younger than themselves, and what that looks like and why they do that.
I seem to have so many people talk to me who are in situations where the narcissist is probably 15 years or more older than them. And there seems to be a theme that runs through it of control, taking over like a father, or like this is when it's a male narcissist with a female. This is what I see the most often. So I'll just talk from there. But like taking over a parent role in that person's life, being safe and secure, and then all the narcissistic stuff happens, and so it's super confusing and super like, what did I just step into? Financially controlling, really controlling. That seems to be what happens.
We do see this both ways. You were talking mostly about the older narcissist, right? There are situations also where the narcissist can be younger.
The narcissist is younger. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Significantly younger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, for example, I watched that movie, but it featured Eileen Wuornos, the female serial killer. She had a lot of men back in like between the 80s and the 90s or something like that. Anyway, she ended up one of the first females to be. Yeah. Have you heard of her? She was the person who they featured in the movie Monster. But this was a story that she had told somebody right before she passed, Eileen Wuornos, and there's a record that she had married this man when she was like in her early 20s or late teens, and the man was he was in his probably 70s, and she was only, like I said, very young. They were probably 50 years apart or something, and she tried to steal all his money. And she ran him and tried to separate him from his daughter. It was really ugly. I agree with you. I think it's a lot about control. A lot of times when you have, especially a female, but even, there are little gigolo narcissists stuff.
Oh, yeah. And often it's stories where the narcissist was younger by about 15 years than the survivor. It was a male narcissist and a female survivor, so she was the older one. Always making it about her age, always making her feel bad, or making her feel like, well, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. In other words, I could be with young women. Yeah. And, always using that age as a way to keep control of her, to keep her feeling bad about herself, to, manipulate the situation over and over. And then, when he left, so when he discarded, what's the first thing she thinks? I'm too old. I'm too... Yeah. Another one that used for money, it was like you said, like a gigolo situation, like a young or sugar daddy kind of, if it's a female, whatever you want to call it. It was, using to have. what age brings, which is security, stability, financial, hopefully, like often a better financial position than people their own age. Well, and it's also like, not to say, of course, there can be healthy situations where there's age gaps.
Of course, and there are.
And there's tons, yeah. But when there's a narcissist, it is a form of deception that gets people either where they're vulnerable. Well, it gets people where they're vulnerable. Either they're vulnerable because they're older and they're thinking, oh, this younger person's attracted to me, and there's a sensitivity, or they're younger and they're vulnerable through naivety, through their needs. A lot of times when it's people I've spoken to, they have some serious abandonment or hurt or whatever around a narcissistic parent, and so they it makes sense why it fits, but it's predatory, is what I'm getting at.
You're absolutely right, and that's the part that scares, from either side.
Right. Well, yeah, male or female, and young or old.
Male or female, young or old, right?
Right.
The age gap offers them an additional way to manipulate.
Exactly.
So, right, and you'll see young ladies with daddy issues. Forgive me for saying that word. I hate that word, but you know what I'm talking about, y'all.
Or usually people who feel that way will admit it. They'll be like, "Yeah, I do have that going on."
Yes, and when that is a not narcissist, if it's a non-narcissist person, and then the narcissist can easily become sort of put themselves in a weird parental space, even though they're doing all the other weird stuff, and so that, like you said, they're easily controlled sometimes. Right. And like you mentioned before, it's either about, I'm older, I know better, I'll take care of you, whether you like it or not. Or it's about, I'm younger, I'm hotter, I have more going on. All the younger people also want me.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
So you better step up and give me all the stuff and do all
right.
And people can't see that they're being manipulated because they're being also groomed through, whatever it is they need. The narcissist is giving them in the beginning to groom it. For instance, like somebody was telling me about, at first he made me feel really intelligent. Here I am, like 18 years younger than them. And we had intelligent conversations. We were on the same level. They listened to my opinions. They even took my opinions to work meetings and like told me about it. And they like really, and then over a course of a year or so, slowly devalued that intelligence into you're stupid. I don't care what you say. And so they made them in the beginning feel like you're equal to me, built them up using things that young people might be insecure about. Like, can I hold my own in a room full of people 20 years older than me intellectually? Right. With less life experience. That's going to make someone uncomfortable, right? And they make them feel great about it. And then suddenly it's like, you're just a dumb kid. What do you know?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think age gaps can be very attractive for narcissists because of the fact that
narcissists are looking for something very specific in a relationship. Let me explain.
So we're going to come at this from two angles today. First of all, we're going to talk about 5 things every narcissist wants in every relationship. Number 1, a narcissist seeks someone who will constantly stroke their ego. So they're always looking for somebody, whether it's a romantic partner or otherwise, who will stroke their ego, who will make them feel good about themselves. Number 2, the narcissist is looking for someone who's strong, someone who's steady, someone they can count on all the time to give them supply, to stroke their ego, to help them with anything that they want or need in the world. Someone to take care of them. Number 3, a narcissist is looking for, in general, someone who is empathetic. There's a real specific reason for that. They want someone who will take care of their emotional needs and in some cases their physical needs as well. Number 4, narcissists are looking for people who are intelligent. And this is in part to prove to others that they are intelligent because they figure if they can get a hold of an intelligent person and wrangle them into some sort of relationship, whether it's a personal one or a professional one, they can appear smarter to other people. You know what they say, like minds and all that. Number 5, a narcissist is looking for someone who is so self-sufficient that they need no one. They're looking for someone who handles his or her own needs so that they aren't required to do so, even though they will ask you to handle their needs. They're always looking for someone who will make them feel good about themselves on a number of levels. And they will gravitate toward people they want to be like or people who they think reflect themselves very well. The version of themselves that they would like the world to see. That might mean they'll be looking for people who the narcissist thinks is somehow impressive. So then again, they would feel more impressive by being associated with that person. And of course, they're going to look for someone who is an empath, someone who will avoid hurting them in any way, because narcissists, as we all know, have this whole narcissistic injury issue. And so that leads right back to them wanting to find someone who won't injure them on a narcissistic level and who will make them feel good about themselves. And of course, again, they want someone who looks good on their arm, as in makes everyone around them think that they've done well, that they've upgraded, or they've done better than they could have done. A person who reflects well enough on the eyes of others. So if other people look at this person and are impressed by them in some way, by their beauty, their intelligence, their status, whatever, then they're almost good enough for the narcissist, at least in the short term. Bottom line, they're looking for someone who validates everything about them, everything they think, feel, say, believe, do, and who represents all of the ideals that they would like in a partner or a relationship. What it all boils down to is that what a narcissist is searching for does not exist in real life. Everyone they meet, they will idealize up to a point, as you may know. They will put them up on the pedestal, they will love bomb, and they will act as though that person can do no wrong. The very moment that person begins to show just a tiny bit of humanity, they're going to knock them right off the pedestal. Their expectations are unrealistic, and as we've discussed before, they have unstable object constancy. And as I kind of alluded to, this leads them to be in relationships where the sparkle just kind of dulls off quickly, and the moment that their partner shows a more human side to themselves, they are devalued and discarded, often cyclically throughout the relationships. So narcissists are most often searching for this external means of regulation, of self-regulation, because they have unstable emotions and very low self-esteem. Even those who seem to have very high self-esteem, it's artificial. And because they pick their partner through the same kind of lens that they're looking at their whole messed up lives through, based on how they feel about themselves in that person's presence, it often does not serve the partner well at all.
In general, they feel more powerful, more knowledgeable, and maybe by dating a younger person, they can be more in control. They might have more money, they might have more things to give them, but ultimately they feel like they have more knowledge. And since we know that narcissists tend to be emotionally stunted, in some cases you'll see them with younger people for that very reason. Those people feel more their age mentally. With that being said, there are also very selfish reasons, as we can all imagine, for that, and almost none of them are directly related to the previous source of supply. Let's dig into that a little bit.
Remembering that narcissists are all about the ego and anything they can do to build it up, you can recognize that anything that might lower their self-esteem would be considered a threat. For some narcissistic people, this means that they also want a mate, as I explained, who in some way raises their self-esteem. And of course, for many people, one of the easiest ways to do this is to find someone much younger and more attractive. So what are the benefits of dating someone younger? Well, first of all, younger people might be easier to impress. By dating a younger person, a narcissist has the opportunity to appear more educated, more worldly, and to have much more life experience. This gives them a certain sense of superiority and degree of control. That, and of course, a younger person might be more likely to admire a narcissist and respect their opinions. Dating someone in their own social class or age group, a narcissist is more likely to find themselves with an equal in regard to their life experience, education, etc. And they are probably also more likely to have things that the younger person doesn't, such as their own home, a career, a car, a big bank account. As a result, the new supply might be more likely to idealize the narcissist or ask them for guidance and help. They would not expect necessarily to be treated as an equal. Another reason that narcissists might date younger people is for the whole arm candy idea. Youth, as we all know in our society, is sort of a valued commodity, to say the very least. You don't see a bunch of middle-aged Chippendales or Victoria's Secret models walking around in the world, and a lot of narcissists think that walking into a party or social event with a much younger person on their arm could add to their status, and even in some cases make them seem younger themselves. Of course, the new person wouldn't really be valued as a person so much as they would be treated like a shiny new sports car, just a possession, something that would get the admiration of other people. This envy of the narcissist's peers would, of course, add to the fire that is his or her ego. We also need to consider the fact that narcissists tend to have shallow relationships. So when an older narcissist dates a younger person, they generally settle for looks as opposed to interesting conversation or intellectual debate. That doesn't mean that younger people aren't as smart as older people. It's just that coming from different generations might make it more difficult to have common experiences or shared memories of certain times in the world. child. While an older narcissist might have a little trouble keeping up with a younger person, they might also feel that spending time with that person and their friends could distract them from their own aging. As we've discussed before, getting older tends to bring out some narcissistic injuries. People become less attractive, they lose strength, they lose a certain amount of power in society, a certain amount of status, but dating someone who's younger or even marrying them might feel like a second chance to a narcissist to sort of experience youth and even slow down their own aging process up to a point. Bottom line, many narcissists will see people who are younger than they are as status symbols. They love to show off what they know, and if they can, they might even show off by spending money on this person to give them experiences they haven't had yet. This again will help them boost their ego. This type of narcissist is far less likely to try to impress someone their own age because this person would be more likely to know the things that they know.
That's all I've got for you right now, but as always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Now before I go, make sure you take a look at the videos I'm leaving for you right there and right there. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue on this healing journey together. I'll see you soon.